In the game of chess called weight loss, do you know why insulin is called the kingmaker? Do you know why obese people usually also end up with diabetes, fatty liver, and PCOS? Finally, do you know the best way to lower your insulin resistance and average insulin levels? Here's a hint, it's not curbing your carbohydrate intake as you may think. All these and much more in this video. Our body has many hormones that control hunger and satiety. As you will learn later in this video, insulin plays a big role in this appetite control and therefore weight gain. But even more importantly, it regulates the levels of other hunger hormones. That's why it's called the kingmaker hormone. And indeed, it can make or break your weight loss effort too. When you eat carbs, your insulin levels rise. Insulin helps the digested carbs, which translate into increased blood sugar after a meal, to enter your muscle and fat cells. That lowers the blood sugar. Insulin simultaneously does a few other things. It makes your liver convert the excess carbs into fats, and it also prevents the stored body fats from converting back into blood sugar for burning. So having high levels of insulin by eating a lot of carbs is a double whammy. Increase fat formation and reduce fat usage. This line of thinking is called carbohydrate insulin hypothesis. Therefore, if you eat a lot of carbs regularly, you gain weight. At least that is what the carbohydrate insulin hypothesis says. At this point, for reasons that are not fully understood yet, your body starts developing a bigger problem. Its cells start becoming less sensitive to insulin. That is, to utilize the same amount of blood sugar for energy, they need much higher levels of insulin in the blood. This is called reduced insulin sensitivity or increased insulin resistance. All in all, you gain more fat after meals and lose less fat after you have finished your meal, such as during your sleep. Now, if these insulin levels stay high for a long time, such as many years, your overburdened pancreas slowly starts failing, producing less and less insulin. So your blood sugar starts rising and you end up with diabetes. The high levels of insulin generate a lot of extra fat from blood glucose, and it is first stored inside your liver, giving you fatty liver or something called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. These high levels of insulin also tell the ovaries of young women to produce testosterone, which is a male hormone. This causes a difficult to manage condition called polycystic ovarian syndrome or PCOS. It can cause depression, hair fall, facial hair, irregular menstrual cycle, and even infertility in such women. Put it another way, it is not the obesity that causes these diseases. Instead, all of them have the same underlying mechanism of insulin resistance. So it makes sense to keep your insulin on the lower side. And even more important is to somehow lower your insulin resistance. To control insulin resistance, you need to know what causes it in the first place. While there are many factors that lead to it, the underlying connection seems to be a mechanism called inflammation. Inflammation is a very interesting phenomenon. In brief, it is an essential mechanism for your survival. Inflammation is a way your body conveys that something is wrong. You can think of it as an SOS signal. If the inflammation stays for a short duration, as it is meant to be, it helps in healing. But if the inflammation stays for months and years, the cells in that region start behaving a bit more strangely. The cells cannot fully absorb blood glucose for their functioning and need more insulin for the same. This is effectively insulin resistance developing. So anything that can cause inflammation is a prime candidate for insulin resistance. Examples are processed foods, continual stress, lack of exercise, and inadequate sleep. So you should address those to reduce insulin resistance. Most of the processed foods is highly inflammatory, mainly because of the additives such as taste enhancers, food colors, trans fats, and preservatives in them. Try to stick to minimally processed foods as much as possible. Stress can cause certain hormones that increase inflammation. Reducing stress using techniques such as yoga or meditation can reduce inflammation and insulin resistance over a period of time. I have a video on this channel that talks in detail on how to control stress to lower your weight. Adequate sleep of 7 to 9 hours, preferably at a fixed time of the day, helps ease off inflammation as the body heals itself during sleep. Moderate exercise, but not extremely strenuous one, also lowers inflammation and insulin resistance over a period of time. Fats in the diet don't increase your insulin, so they are good for bringing insulin levels down. Make sure they are healthy types of fats and not highly inflammatory trans fats. Proteins do raise your insulin, so you do not want to blindly eat a very high protein meal for lowering insulin resistance. Proteins help more by keeping you satiated longer and not by keeping your insulin lower. If you follow these 6 steps, you can slowly lower your insulin resistance, average insulin levels, and your weight. Such diets have given superb results for weight loss, along with significant improvement in other health parameters that affect diabetes and heart disease, for example. But is low carb the best diet to follow? Check this video of mine to find out. And here is a 40-minute long video packed with hundreds of weight loss tips that help you lose weight. Remember, ignorance is a bad idea when it comes to obesity. Thank you.